Here as we've got a nice match to kick us off. Countdown has begun. You guys excited? Day 4, thanks to those who have been here all 4 days supporting IGN, IPL, all the great players, the staff, etc. Here in the Northeast, we've got our Red Terran hailing from the Slayers clan. Give it up for Slayers MMA. Down in the southeast corner of the map, hailing from Team Evil Geniuses, as the Blue Terran, we've got EG PuMa.
And both of these guys, I mean, MMA had a bit of a shaky start within this tournament, but has stepped up his game most definitely. And on the other hand, PuMa has been on a roll. I mean, in the open bracket, he was just cruising through. He's playing so well. And like I said, this is going to be a really good matchup. Both of these players have absolutely fantastic results outside of Korea in the foreign events. We've got obviously MLG champion. We have IEM champion going head-to-head here in IPL 3.
And talking a little bit about the results specifically, Apollo, here at IPL 3, a lot of people think MMA is one of those players who shouldn't drop those games, who should have easy victories throughout, but he has, you know, looked human, let's just say that, throughout this entire competition. PuMa's one of those players who can be completely relentless. He manages to win games because of that relentlessness. And what do you think we're in for here? I mean, do you expect us to see a longer game? Do you think that we're going to see more of the short form games due to the aggression that goes out? Or do you think we're going to have sort of some cancellations of things that could happen because of the styles of the two players?
Well, I was going to say we're going to see a macro game anyway. And of course, we can see that we are going to have a command center first here for MMA. But the way that the style in Korea has been based around, it's pretty much gasless expands, very biocentric, and then you get this really comfortable map control, decent leads, fighting over Zell Naga towers and so on. Then you start to add in double factories and continue like that. And as we can see, we have MMA going for that command center first, followed by barracks, where on the other hand, we have the barracks first and then command center coming from PuMa. So a little bit of an advantage taken from MMA here, but a bit greedy. I mean, it's a little bit cautious and dangerous to do so, but I mean, the recent style, the way this matchup is played, he's getting that advantage.
Yeah, I mean, especially on this particular map, it's really built. It's just catered to the distances between the bases, and we do have PuMa still on the scout. He did go to the southwest corner first, which means he's going to be scouting MMA last, but upon seeing that there's nothing here, he will know exactly where his opponent is at that point. Meanwhile, the command center going down on the natural location here for PuMa. So as you mentioned, just pretty much the same path and different way to get there.
And MMA's style within this matchup is very biotank-centric, and he really does focus on drops heavily, and he can win games because of that. As the game goes on, the later the game goes on, obviously the bases are going to be more extended, where drops in the back of the base are always going to be devastating for players, so we'll have to see about that. But within these positions that they have spawned, that one Zell Naga tower in between both of the bases on the right-hand side is going to be the point, the place to occupy. If you do not do that, you're going to lose position. If you do occupy it, you're going to be able to swing down the left-hand side, down the right-hand side, and without even being scouted whatsoever.
And this SCV from PuMa did go in and get a lot of information here. He counted the number of racks. He saw the fact that there's no gas at the moment, and it looks like over on this side, what do you think
barracks, DJ Wheat, already before the command center finishes here, and I don't even think we're going to see gas. We're going to see a lot of Marines here coming out, a lot of early pressure, and on the other hand, we are seeing just the single refinery taken, which is mean he's not going to go for tanks straight away. He's just going to focus on 3 barracks with upgrades. So potentially, if we have PuMa hitting before, you know, combat shields is done, before stim is done, we could see a very early quick win.
Yeah, and he's, I mean, his separation, I guess, the location of a lot of his racks, he's got the one here at the natural, he's got the 3 just inside of the main, and then one over here on the corner. And I'm very curious to see exactly what PuMa's plan is going to be for this, you know, catching his opponent off guard. We were going to have a 4v4 situation. PuMa, though, with vision, does get the upper hand, takes out 2 Marines, and early on, and also considering the amount of potential Marine production that PuMa has, it's actually a good engagement for him.
And the thing is, nobody's going to scan this early on. That is the really thing you have to keep in mind. Nobody's going to use that energy to scan. It's all going to be mules. So technically, MMA is really in the dark, and he's not going to know about this. He's lost the Xel'Naga Tower range, which is the most important thing. SCVs are being pulled as well. We have 5 SCVs with all these Marines. There's only a single bunker, which will get taken down relatively fast.
And he only sees the SCVs in vision, but it does give something away. PuMa's making his way up the ramp right now. There is the bunker going down. SCVs buffering in some damage, but there's a lot of SCVs currently repairing here, and PuMa will not be able to break this. And look at this as we see MMA chase him away with a Marine force of his own, and I really feel like PuMa, unfortunately, giving away that push and allowing his SCVs to be seen there. There was a reaction, and of course now we're going to have a back and forth little battle here, but I feel like MMA, having not been surprised by that, is certainly not going to get defeated here early on.
He's actually going to get a bit surrounded. He has to fight here. He doesn't have the numbers. It's all going to come down to micro. MMA will come out on top. Oh, actually, no. PuMa is going to pull that just about, but it doesn't matter. Combat Shields is very close to finishing. He's got +1 on the way as well, and he's going to be able to keep this bunker there. But yeah, that 3 hit point SCV on that North Xel'Naga Tower gave away the game. If it wasn't for that, it would have been a fast win.
And he's going to go in. He might catch these Marines that are coming in through the top side there from the 3rd. And he's got a lot more Marines on the way. Meanwhile, the tech is not really developing that much for PuMa. He is considering here that they're going all the way up. Oh, he's going to trap them there. And, I mean, he's got a spread out army. I do think he's going to meet them in the middle. He should be able to take all these out. And then that bunker might be wide open, but PuMa should be able to win this engagement. And he has more Marines on the way.
Oh, there is actually nothing right now. And right now, MMA's adding reactors, tech labs onto these barracks. He has nothing right now. And all of a sudden, there's 1 Marine and a lot for PuMa.
Yes, and, you know, the bunker's going to go down. But even if the SCVs manage to save it, a lot of SCVs are going to fall. And they have to pull themselves away from the repair of the bunker. They're going back in for it. The Marines now just stutter stepping past all these units, and they are going to go right into the heart of MMA's base. And I'm not sure how this turned around so quickly, Apollo, but right now PuMa is sort of getting free reign inside of MMA's base.
Oh, this is so bad for MMA. He's losing so many SCVs. I'm looking at it now. He's lost 16 SCVs already in this game, and that is so much. The SCV count 42 for PuMa, 34 for MMA.
And it looks like PuMa, having lost all these units inside the main, did a lot of damage. He sent another force forward and did not want to go 1 versus 1 against that bunker. SCVs were not pulled either, but he's deciding that whatever pressure he applied is done now, and he needs to, you know, focus back on, I guess, just bettering his tech here and not getting too far behind. Keep in mind that those Marines that made it inside of MMA's base also got a good scout of what's going on. He knows potentially what next. He saw the starport, he saw the factory, etc. He saw the number of racks as well as the engineering base, so he decided it was time to pull back there. But what do you think overall, Apollo?
I think it's really even. I think it's really even right now, because despite PuMa having a little bit of an economy advantage, the tech advantage is with MMA. He has, you know, the factory, the starport's out, he has +1 armor's on the way as well. He's got combat shields, stim is about to finish. He has all these upgrades, and we have PuMa actually going for a hidden expansion here, which is a bit of a gamble because he knows he is a little bit behind in tech. So he can basically take a 4th base in the regular 3rd base area, and I wonder if MMA is going to smell that out, if he is going to scout, because that's one of the things that's probably the most undeveloped thing within StarCraft 2 is base timings. But as we say this, there is a drop down the right-hand side, which is, well, it's going to walk directly into a turret. Look at the green line is straight in there.
Oh, that's not good. Now, the other thing MMA, I feel, is poising up to do here is it looks like he wants to attack from the front as well while this drop goes in on the flank. And as you mentioned, oh, he goes ahead, a quick reaction by MMA, and that will thwart that, the 1 missile turret.
And there is a Viking there now, so MMA is going to have to be really careful. He unloads, he may be able to get the +1 attack. That could be so big because he's already at 1-1 almost, and if that goes down, he is an incredibly far lead.
Oh, and it does go down. Pick up, though, but the Viking is there, so the Viking should be able to clean it up. And there it does go down. Now, I wasn't really paying too much attention, but was there any damage done at the front? It did look... Oh,
no, there was no damage done there. Don't worry, Dewey, it's okay. This third base now is up for MMA at the north now. SCV's been transferred, and just looking at the SCV tab, it's relatively equal now, but this third base is going to basically, all the mules from the main and natural command centers are just going to go onto this third base on the left-hand side of the map. So he can basically keep his main and natural saturated for a lot longer. And he's so far behind in upgrades now. I can't believe that +1 got cancelled. The upgrades are 1-1 now for MMA. He's starting the second engineering bay and armory. It's a little bit off with the timings, but this is an intense game right off the bat, and I don't think you can blame him for being a little bit short there.
Yeah, I mean, it's for PuMa, it's starting to look, at least in this particular moment, there is kind of a scary thing because he did lost those upgrades and he's behind, but also not having tanks as well. It just feels like MMA was able to hold, and now is just really taking a solid lead. So, you know, as you mentioned, will this expansion help him out in the long run, as we've got this medevac drop moving out to the northeast position as well. So a lot of potential here.
Yeah, there is an SCV with a supply depot there, though, which the medevacs are not going to pass here, so that's pretty good for PuMa. But there are 2 Marines in the bottom left-hand side looking for any hidden expansions, but they have stopped working as of yet. But right now, well, are these drops going to be able to do anything? They're going to be able to go to the third base, and MMA's army's in the center of the map. The tanks and Marines are not there, and oh no, the SCV picks it up.
Yeah, the SCV is like, wait a second, and moves on over. There's the stim. He's going to try to go in here. Meanwhile, you could see this red moving in as MMA is trying to rotate around to his third base. The Marines go forward. They can't really choose to take down this orbital command. In fact, they're going to engage in battle, and this is not going to work out good for PuMa. He actually goes ahead and gets rid, but here comes PuMa on the frontal assault now, regaining vision, that important tower right there. It just looks like the Viking is going to try to chase away those medevacs, but PuMa basically gives it up. How many SCVs? Well, 24 total for PuMa. So there's been about 8 or so that he's been able to get as a result of those drops, but you know, nothing too spectacular, but did a little bit of damage.
And MMA's army is always going to beat PuMa's head on. These tanks are going to make the world of difference here. They have +1 on the way. And when you're playing this bio-only style, you have to have an upgrade advantage, or you have to have an economy advantage, which he doesn't have. So it's going to be really difficult, especially if MMA, if he gets positioned under this natural now, this could be so bad for PuMa because he won't be able to fight. But at the same time, we do have PuMa going to the north, and MMA in a bit of a, on the fence, really. Does he defend? Does he attack? There is a drop into the main base of MMA at the same time, though, by PuMa.
And he's going to stim in. There's not much there. In fact, he's going to take out a tech lab. Meanwhile, at the front, we do see MMA moving in. He knows that there's got to be no army there because PuMa is on the move, and it looks like we're going to be in a base trade situation here as PuMa's moving forward. SCV's coming out. There was one tank down. That tank does fall. Meanwhile, MMA, he's going to start eating PuMa alive from the inside of his base.
Oh, this is so close, but I think that MMA has the advantage here. He just has a larger army overall. The one advantage, though, is both of these players, well, actually, MMA does have the third base, which is more saturated than the other third base of PuMa's here, and MMA is just going to town. Look at all these SCVs that are getting melted. The Marines and Marauders are getting clumped up as well.
Yeah, not the greatest engagement. Do get rid of the one tank. I guess the big difference is there's nothing really to defend over here on MMA's side. Is something to keep in mind. Looks like all these, no, there's still a few Marines and Marauders left over there, but again, the upgrades at 2-2, and there they go. With the help of those tanks, that's pretty much all she wrote. Now, we've got SCVs training over here. You know, I think that even if buildings go down and there's just nothing but debris and destruction, you know, this base over here for PuMa is not going to be enough, because in a head-to-head, I still feel like MMA's army wins.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely will. But PuMa is building up again on the left-hand side of the map. He's adding on a lot more barracks. Doesn't really have the SCV count. Well, neither of them do, to be honest. 11 versus 18. 18 for MMA, that is. And the base, all the supply depots are going to go down. And they are eventually going to have to fight head-to-head. And when that does happen, MMA is going to win. But if he miscontrols his tanks, and if the tanks go down, even with 2-2, it's going to be really close.
Well, and at this point, is there a Viking out at all for... No, the only Viking out on the field is for MMA. And we do have all of these buildings lifted off over to the side. PuMa at this time, I don't even think that he's got a starport.
And one single Marine is going to find everything of PuMa's over here, and that'll be the next destination for MMA to go kill him off. And PuMa has to defend it with everything he has. 2-1 upgrades versus 2-2. The 3-3 was cancelled, of course. Let's have a look at the command centers. There's one command center for PuMa and just one for MMA as well.
And it looks like PuMa has not much left. He's the factory over here. He's got his barracks over on this side, but again, even if he does, I mean, he is mining base, so that should be okay. He's not going to be able to get like a building kill by any means. And here we've got a pretty sizable force. Keep in mind the SCVs have basically come over to be a repair assist, and 5 medevacs, several Marines. I just am not sure how PuMa wins this engagement.
Yeah, well, PuMa was trying to sit on the Xel'Naga tower and wait for MMA to walk up there and then basically jump on him while everything was on siege. But there was a perfect scan going down from MMA on the Xel'Naga tower. And now he's going to start to lift down here. And when the siege tanks get onto that cliff, there's almost nothing that PuMa can do to stop this.
Yeah, in fact, in consideration, oh, he does manage to get the 1 medevac, but the tanks are now sieged up on the high ground. That's going to make it a lot more difficult to actually try to assault this location. And you know, this base being hidden was a good idea, but in the location that it's in the situation that MMA is now put on top of PuMa, having that high ground advantage just didn't work out too well. If PuMa had been, say, over here, where maybe he could have used the high ground to his advantage, it would have been different. But now PuMa's army just moving out. At what point does MMA just go, oh, you're not going to protect these buildings, and I'll just take care of things? I mean, he would have to kill this factory, but looks like that might be what he's going over to protect. And
MMA is actually mining from a couple of different sources at the moment. In the bottom right, he was there mining. In the bottom left, he's built a command center. At the north side, he has another one there. So buildings are starting to go down, but it's going to be difficult, DJ Wheat.
Yeah, I still, no production, just like a racks. I mean, literally nothing is coming out. MMA is still producing units from these 4 barracks up here. Throwing down some bunkers too. Let's see where those are. Okay, he's going to throw them here, so he can say, "I'm making my stand right here." The only way you're going to be able to win is if you take out the army over here. Meanwhile, oh, it looks like the factory's going to have to land, and the Viking out for MMA is going to come in big. But here we've got SCVs scouting around, going to find this little group of bunkers up here, or barracks if he does go up to the top. But
is he going to see it though? That's really important if he does see it, because that is basically the only production for MMA, and he has 1,300 minerals mined up right now. And with 1,300 minerals, that's a lot of Marines.
Yeah, he does not see it either. He's like, no sir, there's nothing here, and he's going to go up there anyway.
Oh, he doesn't see it, which is really bad, because if he had seen it, he could have gone in there with his entire army and really split them up, because right now, MMA's army cannot beat PuMa's head on. If he is or if he's sieged up in a defensive position like this, of course he'll win, but in the middle of the map, he cannot win. So these Marines at the north side are going to be so important, and the army is going up there, so they are going to be able to slaughter all these Marines, and that is not good for MMA.
Yeah, he did see it.
Oh, is he going to see it?
Oh, he saw it. He saw it with an SCV. He's moving forward right now. And there it is, medevac trying to make its way over to help these guys, but not going to happen. There's the lift on the racks. And that's the nice thing. There's no way PuMa's going to be able to take all these off, all of these out. So perhaps he can move them to another location. Does manage to snipe 2 of them, but can kind of ferry them back and forth, land, build production as he needs to. But keep in mind, MMA has reestablished a base. He has a mining base. He has income. Right now, PuMa cannot even create units. He's at 5211. We're seeing MMA bounce back. He's actually got supply that he can use up.
And he just scanned DJ Wheat. He landed his command center, the only one he has left, and scanned the bottom left. So now PuMa knows that's where the mining base is right now for MMA. And I'm surprised he's building a Raven. It doesn't make too much sense to do that. If he built a Cloak Banshee, there's only one command center which doesn't have that much energy. He could right out win the game there. But even if he doesn't have that Banshee, is that these tanks and the bunkered Marines are never going to be able to break this.
And this Marine wishes he was a fireman, but it's not going to happen. The factory is going to go down. That'll be like the last building remaining. Just a few additional ones, as you mentioned. We got the command center over here. He's going to try to reestablish his mining base. Little does he know, this also exists up here. We call this the inverted base. as you just mine on the other side of the minerals. Eventually, PuMa knows that he's going to have to attack here, but he's scanned. He knows that there's bunkers there. He knows that there's siege tanks. How do you truly, truly attack into that?
It's almost impossible. And the thing is that if he doesn't do it, the Cloak Banshees are going to be out. He scans, he sees Cloak researching as well. So he knows it's coming. He has to find a way in there, but there's turrets, there's tanks, there's bunkers. It's almost impossible to break this.
Well, he's going to go in, and it looks like he'll swing around the backside. He's going to take it right in there. Keep in mind, there is this siege tank right here, so he cannot go too far into this circle. And there it is, and it's going to start firing away. He's got to be careful with those Marines. This is really the only units that he has left standing. Going to take out a refinery, just slip around the back here. Uh-oh, but the medevacs get caught out. And there it is, GG!
That was pretty good, DJ Reed. That's pretty high-level StarCraft 2.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the base trade, people say, base trade is just a base trade, but when you get these types of players actually going through these base trades, then you really do